Well, hello everyone and welcome to my analysis of the chances of each runner in the Melbourne Cup of 2022 being first past the post. I'll be using two versions of the wagon wheel, which tries to account for all the past performance data that gives some guide to those chances of the horses winning. Now, as was the case with the Cox Plate, the spreadsheet will be available from Google Sheets, and if you follow the instructions in the video description, you will be able to download it to your desktop. Now, despite my attempt to carefully show how that's done in my last post, I was inundated with emails asking for me to give access to the Cox Plate spreadsheet. I thought I must have been doing something wrong, so I got my wife to follow the instructions using her new laptop. It worked perfectly, so I really don't understand what went wrong for all those who obviously had some issues. Once again though, I will not be responding to any emails asking for access to the file, as I've made it available to everyone who uses the link in the video description and follows the instructions. So starting with the original version that I brought to you just prior to last year's Melbourne Cup, the basic assumptions that drive the analysis are that horses that are more highly rated in the pre-post bookmakers markets are more likely to win than those that are being traded at much longer odds. That's just a statistical fact. Horses drawn closer to the rail are more likely to perform better than those that are drawn wide. Statistics confirm that this is true, but not to quite the same extent as the line of favouritism. Horses carrying less weight have an advantage over those asked to carry higher weights. The next assumption is that horses dropping in class have a greater chance of winning than those that are going up in class. Horses bringing strong recent form into the race are preferred over those that have been uncompetitive recently. And horses that have already shown they've won on the track and or have won at the distance are preferred over those that have not met those metrics. And there's also an opportunity to factor in whether you believe the jockey will be a contributing factor to the likelihood of the horse producing its best. Now, only 3 horses in the race this year have ever won over 3,200 metres, and because 2 of them have quite reasonable form, they've percolated to the top of the ratings. Vow and Declare rates on top, with Knight's Order in 3rd place, marginally behind Deauville Legend, which is only half a point in front of it. I was surprised to see Smokin' Romans up there in equal 3rd place, but its rating benefited from it being lightly weighted and having quite good form, although you'd have to say its Caulfield Cup run was a bit disappointing. The trainer did comment that Jamie Carr, who rode the horse on that occasion, would have ridden it differently if given another chance. So given that most thoroughbreds are not the most consistent of beasts, I took the $101 on offer from Bet-R and have all my fingers crossed and also all of my toes crossed, hoping for some good fortune. As far as Deauville Legend is concerned, it's penalised for being up in class, having run at Group 2 level at its last start, and the Melbourne Cup, of course, being assessed at being at Group 1. Now, Deauville Legend has never raced at Group 1 level, but looking at its most recent run back in the UK, it did look like it was just getting warmed up at the end of the 2,380 metre race. Outside of the top 4, the wagon makes a case for considering Realm of Flowers, Montefilia, Luna Flare, Without a Fight, Higher Motion and Numerian. So that's the first way of looking at it. Now, over time, I've messed around a bit with the wagon based on historical statistics, and the basic assumptions that drive that analysis are the same as for the original version, but rather than giving penalties, so to speak, to horses carrying more weight, this version recognises that tab number 1 wins more often than tab number 2, which wins more often than tab number 3, and so on. This analysis produced some differences, with the top 5 selections in order being Vow and Declare, Knight's Order, Montefilia, Deauville Legend and Numerian. It also identified a group of other horses with some claims of being able to challenge at the finish. In order of selection, those horses are Gold Trip, Without a Fight, Duis, Smokin' Romans and Camorra. Now, because the Cup has 24 runners, I decided to recalibrate the TAB numbers greater than 10, and as a consequence, Lunar Flare and Realm of Flowers also came into calculation. So putting all that together, I do find it a very big challenge to settle on some wagers that give me some chance of collecting the trifecta and the first four without having to outlay a large investment. So I've settled on sticking with the horses highlighted in green from the two strategies, giving me in tab order number 3 Knight's Order, number 4 Montefilia, number 5 Numerian, number 8 Deauville Legend, number 10 Vow and Declare, and number 19 Smoke and Romans. I'm going to box them up for $30 in the trifecta. That gives me 25% of the dividend if it's successful, and $18 in the first four, giving me 5% of that dividend if successful. That leaves me with $2 out of my allocated $50 for the race to invest on a trifecta with Vow and Declare or Knight's Order to win, and then Vow and Declare, Knight's Order and Deauville Legend to run second and third for 50% of the trifecta dividend. Now, I'm not especially confident for sure, but I've got my fingers crossed that I can get super lucky. And best wishes to you for your own selections and your investments on Tuesday.